Presented by the 2018 Honda Civic Type R. Like no Honda you've ever seen.
Welcome to Oakland, California. We are in the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum at Rickey Henderson Field. The first of 3 games against the Oakland Athletics. Oakland just got swept at the hands of the Colorado Rockies in Denver over the weekend, trying to get things turned around. And the Blue Jays, under John Gibbons, took 2 or 3 from the White Sox in Chicago. Had a big comeback in the 9th inning yesterday. Take a look at the lineup for the Blue Jays. Curtis Granderson leading things off, and then Russell Martin. But Granderson against Edwin Jackson. Both of these guys have played a long time against one another. Curtis 5 for 16 with a double, a triple, and a home run. He's hit for the cycle against Edwin Jackson. And Aledmus Diaz over his last 6 games swinging the bat well. He had a home run on Sunday in Chicago, 2 homers and 5 RBIs over those 6 games.
8 home runs for the Blue Jays in that series against the White Sox. They will face Edwin Jackson tonight. Jackson joined Oakland just last month. A's are his 13th major league team. That ties a major league record. July has not been good to him. He's winless. He's got an ERA of about 5 in the month of July. He needs one more win for 100 in his career. Last time the Blue Jays saw him as a starter, 2012.
His first pitch of the game, it is upstairs for a ball, and we are underway. It is a beautiful evening here in Oakland, 17 degrees. Curtis Granderson leading things up. Inside, it's 2-0. Granderson came into the game as a defensive replacement in the 8th inning of yesterday's game. Curtis had a leadoff home run on Friday night. First of back-to-back home runs the Blue Jays had to start that game. That's pulled foul outside of first past Tim Leeper.
Well, no secret what Edwin Jackson is going to throw you. He's throwing a little bit harder than he has in the past. That fastball around 95 now. I've never seen that from Edwin Jackson before.
Swing and a miss. It's now 2-2 to Curtis Granderson. As Pat mentioned, Jackson has pitched for 13 Major League Ball clubs. That ties Octavio Dutel for the most teams played for in a career. Dutel spent some time with the Blue Jays.
You want to talk about being well-traveled. His last 5 appearances versus the Blue Jays, he has pitched for 5 different clubs. Think about that. 5 times you face a guy and he's wearing a different uniform.
You have to have a pretty good den just to get the jerseys up on the walls. Ball 4. Curtis Granderson with a leadoff walk. Good start for the Blue Jays here. Let's take a look at the defense for Oakland. New look in the outfield. Nik Martini and Mark Hanna in center. And then Stephen Piscotty is in right.
They've had some injuries and they had some ineffectiveness in the outfield. So Hanna's going to get the start. Started games at 5 different positions. He has not committed an error in 76 games in the outfield. He's working on a 107-game errorless streak, which goes back to last year. So he gets the start tonight here in this big ballpark in center field.
Russell Martin batting second in the lineup tonight. He takes a ball from Jackson. Russell, he's just 3 for 20 going up against Edwin Jackson, of course. A couple of veterans, just like Granderson and Jackson, they have faced each other a lot.
Pushed up into that number 2 hole with the injury to Lourdes Gurriel. Gurriel was hitting everything in sight. So they wanted another guy with a good on-base percentage, and that's why Russell has been elevated to the number 2 hole.
Granderson with just 2 steals. He's been caught once. Russell is starting at third base tonight. McMailey will be doing the catch for 5th time. Russell has started at third this season. For the season, he's batting 182. Russell had a good stop in Chicago. He went 3 for 6 with a double and a home run. Breaking ball cut on and missed.
He will throw a cutter and a curveball. A cutter is more like a slider for Edwin Jackson. And a changeup Just a little bit of a changeup. It's basically, he's got some heat. Goes a little bit harder than he did when he first came up.
Been blocked by Lucroy.
Let's take a look at the scouting report. Fastball, everything evenly distributed from Edwin Jackson. So as a hitter, you can't really sit on just one pitch or have one idea, but throwing a lot harder. 93 with that fastball. He's been at 95 and 97. Cutter, slider, fastball, slider, changeup, a little bit of everything.
Foul tip off the catcher's mitt. 2 balls and 2 strikes to the number 2 hitter for the Blue Jays tonight. Curtis Granderson drew the leadoff walk. Randall Grichuk is on deck. He's hitting 3rd tonight for the Blue Jays. That gets away from Lucroy. Good read by Granderson. Boy, as soon as he saw that ball headed for the dirt, he broke for second.
Great read. As a runner over at first base, you can see the flight of the ball, and you can have an idea that this is going to be a breaking ball and it's going to be in the dirt. If you see that this thing is going to bounce out in front of home plate, just take off. That's what Curtis does, banking on Lucroy not being able to get on top of the ball, and it's not going to be right by him, so he will move up on that wild pitch.
Full count to Martin. Bounces that one foul. So Russell Martin with a chance to at least move the runner from 2nd to 3rd here in the opening frame. Blue Jays were very productive in the first innings of that 3-game series in Chicago. On Friday night, they scored 2 runs on 3 hits. They had a run on 3 hits on Saturday night. And they had a couple of hits, stranded a pair of base runners yesterday. First innings have been good for them. Ball 4, back-to-back walks issued by Jackson to start the game.
It was a good month of June for Edwin Jackson when they picked him up, but July, not so much. You can see the first 3 at 245 average. Opponents hitting just 191 against Edwin. Last 3, they have really hammered him. Texas, not really known as a big hitting team. He only threw 4 in a 3rd inning, gave up 7 hits, and was charged with 5 earned runs.
So here's Randall Grichuk. Grichuk swinging the bat a little bit better of late. He had one of 5 home runs the Blue Jays hit on Friday night in Chicago. There's another ball in the dirt.
That was the problem that he had in that start at Texas. I mentioned he only threw 4 in the 3rd innings, but it took him 91 pitches to throw 4 in the 3rd innings. So right now, he's not getting his breaking ball over.
No, it's not even close. The Blue Jays can spit on it. They don't have to worry about that breaking ball. 2 walks to start the game. Randall Grichuk has to be awfully selective here in this at bat. Get something good you can drive. Hit it in the air. Shallow center field. Long run for Canada. The shortstop is out. The center fielder calls for it. Makes the catch. So Grichuk pops up on a 1-0 pitch. That's the first out of the inning.
Looked like he went right back to the breaking ball right there. When you can tell the pitcher is having trouble getting the breaking ball over, you should just be sitting on 1 pitch. He popped it up and could not advance the runners.
So this will bring Kendrys Morales to the plate. Morales is playing first base tonight for the 12th time. Hitting cleanup. Kendrys 3 for 12 so far on this road trip. He has hit a double, home run, and driven in a pair. Morales' home run came on Friday night as well. There's another ball in the dirt.
He's smart enough to know to just lay off that breaking ball in the dirt. Again, the shift, even with runners on base. Here it is on the right side of the infield. StatCast AI is powered by AWS.
1-0 count to Morales. Ground ball. This shift is going to cost him. Morales has a tough time getting out of the box. He's going to be thrown out at first. Nice play by Simeon, the shortstop. He was on the first base side of second and went back over to the shortstop position and throws out Morales.
Yeah, all it cost was a double play or at least get one of those lead runners. That was the only play, and we've seen Kendrys do that lately. Use the other way. If that pitcher's going to pound him away and they're going to play him to pull, try and squeak one through, and he almost did. Nice play by Simeon and Olson on the other end to get the out.
Good stretch over at first base. Now there are 2 outs, runners at second and third for Yankees Solarte, who is DHing tonight. He takes a first pitch strike. Solarte just 1 for 10 in the Chicago series. He did not start in the game yesterday. Had a pinch hit at bat in the 8th inning and flew out to right field. He's behind quickly, 0-2.
Just keep battling right here. Solarte has done a good job this year of coming up with big hits for the Blue Jays. Taking the long ball. He's got 17 home runs this year, which leads the team. Right now, I'll settle for a little soft single into the outfield.
So will John Gibbons. 0-2. Cut on and missed, and Edwin Jackson pitches around a couple of leadoff walks. The Blue Jays will spread runners at second and third. We'll go to the bottom of the first. Marco Estrada will take the hill when we come back to Oakland. Runs in 3 games. A very foul achieve was shut down dramatically by Colorado. Take a look at the lineup for Bob Melvin's ball club. Matt Chapman's riding a 5-game hit streak. One of the best third basemen in all of baseball. Swinging the bat very well right now. And then down in the 4th spot, Chris Davis. He is red hot last 8 games. He's 10 for 35, but he's hit 7 home runs in those 8 games. He's swinging a hot bat.
Yeah, big month of July for Chris Davis. This is a team that's been struggling to score runs when they don't hit home runs. It's up to Marco Estrada to keep it in the ballpark tonight. Marco, 18th start of the season, first start since July the 3rd, when he only threw a third of an inning against the Mets. Forced to leave that game, as everybody knows, with the glute strain.
He delivers a first pitch strike to Nik Martini, the left fielder. Martini playing in his 19th game. Lines this one to left field. Hernandez is there. He stays with it. That ball was sinking quickly. He makes a nice play. 1 away. Let's take a look at the rest of the defense for the Blue Jays. Hernandez, Grichuk, and Granderson in the outfield. He is in Drury up the middle.
In the second position, third baseman.
Yeah, lots of changes for the Blue Jays defensively. Justin Smoke with the night off. They just wanted to give him a day. So Kendrys Morales, who's been swinging a hot bat, will station in over at first base. Drury will shift over to second, and Russell Martin will get the start at third base. John Gibbons wanting to give Smoke that day off. Yeah, there's a guy who's been missing a long time.
Troy Tulowitzki is with the Blue Jays. He joined the ball club here in Oakland. Of course, he's been out with the surgery on each of his heels as his bone spurs removed. He continues his rehab down in Florida, but he probably got a little tired of the Florida humidity and thought, you know what, I'm going to go back to the Bay Area. That's where he grew up. On the East Bay. He is here with the Blue Jays over the weekend. This is Matt Chapman, the third baseman.
Be careful with Chapman. He's been hitting everything. Wow, you missed that one. They missed their spot. They wanted down and away. And Chapman, again, who has been hitting everything, just fouled it back.
Chapman is 0 for 2 against Marco Estrada. But he has really become one of the bright young third basemen in all of baseball. That 5-game hit streak, he's 9 for 18. He went 5 for 11 in the series against Colorado. He hit one of just 2 home runs that the A's hit while in Colorado. I think everybody expected them to go in there and blow the doors off the Rockies.
As many home runs as they had hit. Chris Davis hit the other one. That was it.
Hot shot to short, no problem for Diaz. Throws in the dirt. Got a nice job from the first baseman Morales to take the low throw.
Andres Morales is just a baseball player. You can put him anywhere, I think, on the diamond, and he's going to help you. He will get the start today. He hasn't started over there very often, but he's played there enough to know that you got to get down on this ball, stay with it, and perfectly executed by tonight's first baseman, Kendrys Morales.
So with 2 outs, second baseman Jed Lowrie will step in the box. Lowrie's a switch hitter. He was an all-star for the first time this season. He's 34 years old. He's having a great season. 17 homers, 66 RBIs.
The way the season has gone for the Oakland A's, this was the guy that they were talking about back in May would probably be on the trade block this time of the year. But they've gotten hot, and now instead of selling off some of their veteran players, there's talk of bringing guys aboard to help them try and get into the playoffs.
Yeah, and Jed Lowrie talked about that at the All-Star game. He said last year all I heard was I was going to get traded. Then the start of this season I heard, oh, he's going to get traded. Just a matter of time. And then the team has played so well that now he becomes a very important part of this ball club, and they're going to hang on to it.
You can't get rid of guys when you're so close to the playoffs. There's just 2 months left in the season, and the A's, I think, are a legitimate team now. With the hot streak they have been on, they are a legitimate team to get into the playoffs. And
they play 27 of the next 37 games right here at home. They'll be home for most of the next 5 weeks. Popped up over near the dugout, and it's going to drop on the warning track.
The team that they are facing or chasing and trying to get into the playoffs, Seattle, they're going to face them 10 more times the rest of the season. They've been baseball's best since June the 16th. That's right around the time that they came to Toronto and took it to the Blue Jays. It was on the 17th when they started that 4-game series against Toronto and swept them at Rogers Center.
Inside. 3-2 now to Jed Lowrie. The 4-game series in Toronto that started on the 17th of May, the A's won 10-5, 3-1, 5-4, and 9-2. They out-homered the Blue Jays. Certainly outscored them. This ball 4. A 2-out walk issued to Jed Lowrie. That's not exactly what you want to do when Chris Davis is the next batter.
Yeah, the big home run hitter. It's feast or famine with Chris Davis. He's either going to be red hot like he is right now. When you do that, you're going to see a lot of home runs, or it can be ice cold where you'll see a lot of strikeouts.
Davis just 1 for 8 going up against Marco Estrada. He has not been able to figure out that changeup. Boy, he's got that prototypical power hitter stance, doesn't he? Opens up, slide open, really gets back on that backside.
Bat straight up and down. Just watch that front foot when he starts to swing. I wouldn't throw any ball close to inside. I think you're throwing it right into his swing plane. See that front foot starting to open up. Stay away from him.
Yeah, I mean, he's just anxious for anything on the inner half. He's going to try to lift and separate it something hard.
A balk has been called.
This is interesting, and this is just what we saw in Chicago. And you see Luke Maile looking at his mask, but the ball was lodged in his chest protector. Once this ball hit the dirt and then goes up under his chest protector, he can't find it. We saw this with C.B. Buckner, where the ball got trapped up against the umpire. And anytime that ball is lodged in a catcher's paraphernalia, the ball is dead and the base runners advance one base.
Yeah, that's exactly what the rule says. Mask or paraphernalia. Dead ball, any runners on base, they get to move up a base. How about that?
We saw that with C.B. Buckner in the Chicago series. That was on Friday night. He was umping the plate and the ball got trapped up against his body. It actually wasn't stuck in his umpiring equipment. It just got pinned up against his body, and he actually misinterpreted the rule, but they got it right as they stopped the play and Russell Martin was allowed to score.
Everybody got to move up a base in that one, and that one was clear right there how it bounced up underneath that chest protector. That was an easy call.
Back-to-back two-out walks issued by Estrada. So Edwin Jackson walked 2 to start the game, and now Estrada, after retiring the first 2 he faced, he walks 2.
Batting in the 5th position, the first baseman, with 28, Matt
Another
Olson.
powerful hitter, Matt Olson, the first baseman. He's got 21 homers and 50 RBIs. The A's are just 4 games over 500 playing here in their home ballpark. They're 11 over on the road. There's a high pop into right field. Curtis Granderson gets there, waits for it, and Estrada gets out of it with 1 pitch to Matt Olson. So both teams strand 2 base runners in the first inning and were scoreless. Before our game here in Oakland, you can catch the Orioles and the Yankees tomorrow at 7 Eastern Time, 4 Pacific Time on Sportsnet 1. Masahiro Tanaka, who's really thrown the ball well lately. He's 8-2. They go up against Jeffrey Ramirez, who is 1-3 for the Orioles. And how about the Yankees? They added Lance Lynn today, and they also traded away one of their relievers. Adam Warren was traded to the Seattle Mariners.
Jason Shreve yesterday, Adam Warren today. Tyler Austin was involved in that trade to Minnesota for Lance Lynn. Yankees being very active.
Zach Britton, Jay Happ, and now Lance Lynn. Here's Teoscar Hernandez. Goes after that breaking ball in the dirt. Teoscar with that home run yesterday, leading off the top half of the 9th inning, snapped an 0 for 17. but it was his big home run that tied it, his 16th home run of the season. 10 of his 16 home runs have either tied the game or given the Blue Jays the lead.
I suspect he will go through those types of slumps, if you will, at times as he is growing as a hitter. There's a pretty good slider on the outside part of the plate against him. But when he's hot, he's going to give something the Blue Jays need, desperately need, some power to drive in some big runs. He's going to learn that that pitch is going to be a strike, so be ready to hit it.
Well, Edwin Jackson with back-to-back strikeouts after walking the first two batters of this game. Now Aledmys Diaz. He goes after the first pitch, as he's done often this year. Very aggressive on that first pitch. He likes to hit the fastball.
And teams just keep throwing it in there early in the counts. He's on a nice little roll himself over the last 10 games, hitting with authority. He's up to 10 home runs now.
Diaz hit a home run in the 5th inning yesterday and had a big double in that 5-run 9th inning. The home run that Aledmys hit in the 5th inning snapped a streak of 11 straight retired by Carlos Rodon, the lefty for the White Sox.
That's a good win for the Blue Jays, beating the ace, if you will, of the White Sox. Rodon's been their best pitcher. And they got to him late. He pitched deep into the ball game, but the Blue Jays hung right there with him and then scored those runs late to take the win.
Rodon pitched to 3 batters in the 9th inning. Check that. He pitched to the batters in the 8th inning. Luis Avilan came on to close out the 8th inning, but they were able to get Rodon to pitch 7 2/3. 3-1 count to Aledmys Diaz. Breaking ball hammered but foul. Boy, took a nice cut at that breaking ball. It stayed up in the zone and he was all over it.
Hey, Jackson has not been able to throw that breaking ball over for strikes, but it's not because he hasn't been trying. Been using it a lot early in this game.
He threw a good one for the first strikeout this inning to get Hernandez. It's a fastball foul back. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. on the bench. He has not been disabled. He's still on the active roster, but he injured himself in a very awkward slide in the 9th inning yesterday, picking up his 3rd hit of that ball game.
It was his knee and ankle. Went for an MRI today.
Ground ball booted by the 3rd baseman. That has been a problem for the Oakland infield. That'll be the 12th air charge to Matt Chapman, a routine grounder. He just booted it.
Normally a very sure-handed 3rd baseman in Chapman. He has good range, soft hands, an accurate arm. It looked like it was in his glove, and then somehow it popped out. Watch it go into the glove, and then he tries to shovel it into his bare hand, and he throws it away.
12th error of the season. Marcus Semien, the shortstop, has committed 17 errors. Left side of the infield has been a concern. Here's Brandon Drury. He had the go-ahead 2-run double in that 9th inning.
Tonight he gets a start at second base. First time that we have seen Brandon over there since coming over from the Yankees.
Drury has actually made the most starts in his big league career at second base. This is his 126th start at second. No, he's not a stranger to that position. Inside. Ball on a strike. Brandon Drury, of course, came to the Blue Jays in the J. Happ trade. And it's an opportunity for him. He was the opening day 3rd baseman for the Yankees, but got off to a bad start, then dealt with some migraine issues, blurred vision, put on the DL, and they called up Miguel Andujar, and he has taken over, and it's kind of history there. Looks like he's in position to play a long time at 3rd.
Yeah, and if what Aaron Boone talked about him as any indication, they're not going to have to worry about 3rd base for the next decade or so. He said he's a middle of the bat type of player. middle of the order type of bat and third baseman. They're not going to have to deal with third base for a while, so that made Brandon Drury expendable. Blue Jays jumped all over the chance to pick him up.
It's a high pop foul. Drifting back into fair territory now as Chapman makes the catch and Drury's retired. 2 away.
Batting ninth, the catcher, number 21, Luke Maley.
Luke Maley hitting 9th. Catching for the 2nd straight day. Maley did a nice job with Ryan Baretta yesterday. Baretta, the starter, meant 6 innings, allowed 2 runs on 6 hits. Another good start for Baretta.
And another good offensive day for Maley yesterday. That nickname is going to start to stick a little bit more. Lukey Barrels with a double and an RBI in that 9th inning.
Yeah, he had a big hit. He also scored the 7th run of the ball game. Jackson still trying to find his release point. He's been a little inconsistent throwing strikes so far in this game.
Blue Jays is doing a good job of not helping him out. He's thrown 37 pitches, and only 20 of them have been in the strike zone.
Plays off that pitch. It's called a strike. It's on the outside corner with a breaking ball. 2-1 now, 2 outs. We're in the top of the 2nd inning. Now it's 3-1. Luke Maley's 27 years old. He came to the Blue Jays last April after the season started. Last year he got into 46 games. This year he's set career highs in many categories. Games played, plate appearances, at-bats, runs scored, hits, just across the board. He's had his best offensive season.
Driven in some big runs for the Blue Jays, and right now 3-1. He can look fastball. Wouldn't surprise me if the Blue Jays started that runner at first.
Not going here. There's a ground ball toward short. Simeon will go to second. That'll end the inning. So the air does not factor in. We'll go to the bottom of the 2nd here in Oakland. Score.
The man, but let's take you back to yesterday afternoon in Chicago when Ryan Baretta got the chance to do something very special. Not only pitch in his hometown, but to pitch in the ballpark that he grew up visiting as a child. We spoke to Baretta after the game, and he admitted that the whole thing felt a little bit surreal, and that throughout the course of the game, he couldn't help but look at the seats he sat in as a child. He said he expected beforehand about 50, 60 friends and family, but he said by the time it was all said and done, it was about triple that number. He kept looking around and seeing more and more groups of friends that he did not expect to see. Afterwards, he was asked what he'll take away the most from the day, and guys, it actually wasn't anything that happened on the field. He said the thing he was looking forward to most, and the thing he'll likely remember the most, is leaving the clubhouse after seeing all his friends and family there waiting for him, saying hello and thanking them for being part of such a special day. Guys.
Yeah, it was a special day indeed, and Ryan Baretta does a great job of keeping his emotions to himself. You never get a feeling for any situation, whether he's overly excited or whether he's nervous about it. He does a great job of keeping that same approach, same appearance every single day.
Probably be excited about the game. He said the neatest thing was going out there and seeing all of his friends after the game. Hey, you're a big leaguer, right? And you're pitching in your hometown and you got all your friends there. That's a great feeling.
You know, you really think about it, and it happened with me here in Oakland. I grew up in Sacramento, about 75 miles away. In my first season in 1969, all my college teammates and all family and friends came, and it's really amazing and unbelievable. You just don't expect to be in that situation. There's a high fly ball over near the corner in left. It's a fair ball caught by Oscar Hernandez. I can remember coming down here, and my mom and dad and my brothers, all three of them came down, and it was like you're walking out of a high school or college game, but you're in the big leagues, and it's really kind of cool.
And you want to share that with your family and your friends and everything like that. Then about year 5 or 6, it's like, okay, been there, done that, right?
Yeah, it kind of wears off a little bit, but it never gets old, that's for sure. This is Marcana. That ball is crushed to left field, and this one is going to go. Home run for Marcana. His 14th of the season. The A's managed just 2 home runs in the 3-game series in Colorado. They've got one in the books already tonight.
Yeah, that's a big part of what they do offensively is hit home runs. They have a hard time scoring runs when they don't hit the long ball. Canna been a part-time player, and he has chipped in with 14 home runs. It's a low pitch. Watch him go down and get it and just golf it out of here.
14 home runs in 272 at-bats. Popped up. Bailey back on the warning track behind home, makes the catch. Marcus Semien is retired on 1 pitch.
They've had some problems in the outfield with injuries to Matt Joyce, ineffectiveness. Dustin Fowler played center field in all 4 games back at Rogers Center. Mark Hannigan's the call tonight. Pitch this one approximately 377 feet to left field. This used to be a really tough ballpark to hit a home run, and then they built that football structure out there and moved the fences in right where he hit it. Right over the 362 sign.
Yeah, it's 362 in the power alleys, and it's not very deep. But this used to be one of the toughest home run ballparks in all of the American League, before they built Mount Davis out there in center field.
Mount Davis, that's the name of it for the football team.
Mount Davis, the great owner for the Oakland Raiders for so many years, decided they needed more seats, and they put that, obviously the football field runs from the left field corner to the right field corner, and those are premium seats up there in Mount Davis. There's a drive to right center. Grichuk has a beat on it over in the alley. He makes a running catch. Jonathan Lucroy is retired. That ends the inning, but Oakland gets on the board first. Marcana with a solo home run with 1 out. The A's lead it 1-0.
Jays and around the majors. Plus a look into the future as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. prepares for his AAA debut in Buffalo. Catch it all 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Sean. Always a great time to watch the monitors, check your iPads out. Curtis Granderson's an interesting guy. He said, you know what, I've gone through this so many times, I'm not worried about it. Until somebody taps me on the shoulder and says, hey, the skipper wants to see you. He's going to just go about his business the way he has done so long. But there's going to be some more trades. The rumor mill suggests that the Phillies and the Yankees are interested in Curtis Granderson. Of course, the Yankees know him very well.
And that makes a lot of sense to me because of the injury to Aaron Judge, his leadership, his swing is built for that ballpark. You can see him coming off the bench or pinch hitting or DHing or something and helping them out in that ballpark.
Granderson had some big years playing for the Yankees. Spent 4 seasons in New York with the Yanks. Hit 115 home runs while playing in the Bronx. He had a career high 119 RBIs in 2011.
Aaron Judge is going to be out about 3 weeks, so that makes sense if they're looking for a bat. Philadelphia would be more of a bench type of player.
There's a drive deep to right. Get up, ball. Get up, ball. Get off the wall. Here's Granderson headed for second. The throw is offline. Curtis just missed hitting a home run. For Granderson, another double. That'll give him 16 on the season. It leads things off for the Jays here in the third.
He is still really quick on the inner half. He's right on top of the plate. And if you try and spin that breaking ball on the inside part of the plate, look at that short swing. No stride. He just takes his hands to the baseball. Still quick in there. That's a home run way back at Yankee Stadium.
Yes, indeed. So Russell Martin in the 2 spot. Jonathan Lucroy got the attention of the third baseman, Matt Chapman, said, hey, be alive. You never know, he might bunt. But Chapman, he's not buying it. So Martin gets a foul tip. Ball just clipped his bat. Oakland with a 1-0 lead. Curtis Granderson at second with a leadoff double. Oh, and 2. When you're in the position the Blue Jays are in, they're 24.5 games out of first place in their division. One thing you don't want to do is allow those contending teams to treat you like a doormat. You got to come in here and play tough against Oakland, and it's going to be the same way in Seattle.
We have seen it year after year after year with the Blue Jays. They really up their game when they play in here. I can't recall any time where they just got steamrolled by a team that was in first place. They just go out there and they rise to the occasion. They always seem to come up big against these big teams. I don't think it's
15 games over 500.
I don't think it's going to be any difference this whole week. 3 games here and 4 big games in Seattle.
Oakland is currently in 3rd place in the American League West Division. They're 6 games back. Houston leads it. They have a 4-game advantage over Seattle. Houston, of course, pulling off the trade for Roberto Osuna. And the Blue Jays will get 3 pitchers in return. Ken Giles is on his way here to Oakland. He'll join the team tomorrow. Giles is 27 years old. He'll turn 28 in September, and he had 34 saves for Houston a couple of years ago. But he has fallen out of favor for the Astros, and the Blue Jays are going to bring him here. He's got a big arm.
I think it's a perfect example of a change of scenery for 2 pitchers that might do him good for both of them. Giles coming here. He's done it in the past. He's got major league experience and success. And we all know about Roberto, how good he has been. Youngest to 100 saves. He definitely needed a change of scenery. Blue Jays, I thought, did a great job.
David Polino coming to the Jays is 6'7". He's 24 years old. He's had 2 cups of coffee with the Astros in 16 and in 17. Martin swings and misses, and he will go up the first base line, make Lucroy make a throw. He does that. The strikeout is completed. 1 away.
The diverse Civic family, our most powerful lineup yet. Honda, proud fan since 1977 and the official vehicle of the Toronto Blue Jays.
We're in the Bay Area of California, across the bay from San Francisco. We're in Oakland, and they have utilized the original name of this Coliseum, the Oakland Alameda County Coliseum. And now we're playing on Rickey Henderson Field.
I just couldn't get used to OCO Stadium or whatever it was before, right? Just couldn't do it. This has always been and always will be Oakland Alameda Coliseum. But now, that is awesome. Rickey Henderson Field. And look who's in the house.
The Hall of Famer, Rickey Henderson. That's awesome. Great tribute to a Hall of Fame career. Randall Grichuk tries to check his swing. He goes around. It's a ball and a strike to the Blue Jays center fielder.
Randall asking home plate umpire DJ Rayburn, was that a called strike or was it a check swing strike? And I think what the umpire told him was it was a called strike. Hitters will do that now and then just to let them know if that pitch was a strike or not.
Lays off that breaking ball. Jackson has thrown 54 pitches. It's been kind of a struggle for him to really zero in on that strike zone. About 50-50 between balls and strikes.
He's always had a fantastic arm. It's been trying to get it consistently in the strike zone. That's where he has had his problems. This is a guy who's thrown a no-hitter.
Yeah, he's always had an intriguing assortment of pitches. 34 years old now. He's actually born in Germany. His father was in the service, and he was born in Germany. He grew up in Georgia, went to high school in Georgia. Randall Grichuk takes ball 4. That's the 3rd walk issued by Jackson. Well, Oakland, they've got a 4-man rotation because of their off days, and you can see the ERAs are not too bad when you really think about it, but they have had terrible issues with injuries, and they lost another pitcher today, Kendall Graveman, to Tommy John surgery.
I think 4 pitchers they lost early in this season, so they've been trying to put it together. So if there's any team that should make a trade, I think, to try and acquire a starting pitcher, it's the Oakland A's. Their rotation, 20th in starter earned run average this year, over 4.5 runs a game, averaging. And their strikeout rate, it's not a strikeout type of starting rotation. So you're going to put the ball in play against this team.
Kendrys Morales grounded out to the shortstop. He hit the ball on the 3rd base side of a second, but Marcus Semien made a nice play to throw him out at first. Granderson's at second. Grichuk's at first. And the breaking ball cut on and missed.
Kendricks got a little bit over anxious on that one. He had a 6-game hit streak yesterday, snapped in Chicago. He's been hitting the ball.
You mentioned the A's and how close they are. They're 2 games back of Seattle, 6 behind Houston. They have 10 more games with the Mariners and 6 more games with the Astros. So they have opportunities to close ground on those front running ball clubs. Billy Beane was quoted in newspapers saying, "It's my belief that it's your responsibility as a GM to respond to your team when it's playing the way our team is right now."
And they have gotten into the playoff picture. There it is, the numbers right there. So it's up to him to add to this team. They need a starter.
Of course, done a nice job with those balls in the dirt early in this game.
I think it's just hard for Oakland to trade away some of their young players because those are the players that they bank on and they count on. Because there's so much turnover with this team, their payroll is what, about $70-something million. So they bank on those young players. They count on them once they get to the big leagues. It's hard to trade those guys away. Now, they've done it in the past, though. I mean, there is some record of that.
A couple of years ago, when they were in this position, they went out and brought 3 starters: John Lester, Jason Hamill, and Jeff Samardzija. So they have done it in the past, and unfortunately that year, I believe that was 14 when they lost to Kansas City in that wild card. And they had the lead.
Yep, late in that game. That was a good team. They had the best record in baseball right around the All-Star break, and they made those trades. I think we were here too when they made those trades.
Morales strikes out. That's the second out of the inning. Blue Jays haven't been able to cash in with runners in scoring position to this point.
They had the leadoff double from Granderson, and they haven't touched the ball yet. A couple of strikeouts and a walk. They haven't even been able to put the ball in play to at least advance that runner. And now it'll take a 2-out hit from Solarte.
Solarte struck out on a breaking ball his first time up, so Jackson goes right back to it.
That looked more like the slider right there, the cutter that he throws. He struck out on a curveball his first time up with a couple of runners on base.
Solarte's behind 0-2. Jackson's trying to pitch out of this jam again. He did it earlier in the first inning, and a couple of runners on in the second inning as well. Oh, 0-2. Bouncing ball over the mound. Lowrie at second makes the throw to first, and Solarte's retired. The Blue Jays strand 2 more base runners. Haven't been able to break through against Edwin Jackson.
And enter the code MBJ0912 to earn My Blue Jays points just for watching the broadcast. The entry box can be found on your My Blue Jays homepage, and the code must be entered by 4 a.m. Buck.
Thank you very much, Sean. And we want to remind all you fans, and I know you know it, but Blue Jays are going to be in Seattle starting Thursday night for a big 4-game series. So make sure you come on down and say hi. It's always a great time.
We're looking at the transaction wire today, and notice that James Paxton came off the disabled list today. So the Blue Jays, I think they have a really good chance of seeing Paxton again.
Yeah. Paxton is making a start tonight against Houston, against Garrett Cole. So that's great news for the Mariners. Paxton is 8-4. Of course, he threw that no-hitter against the Blue Jays back at Rogers Center earlier in the season, and the way things stack up, he should pitch against the Blue Jays.
If he's pitching tonight, Marco's still with the team, right? They would match up against each other.
King Felix will pitch on Thursday night against the Blue Jays. There's a drive to right field. Granderson, a long run. He's not going to get there. It's in front of him. Nik Martini. The leadoff man's aboard.
That was a changeup that fooled Martini, but he stayed back deep enough and long enough to hit that ball to right field. There's that patented changeup from Marco Estrada, down and away this time. But he gets enough on it to just flare it into right field in front of the right fielder Granderson.
So Matt Chapman, he was thrown out on a grounder 6-3 back in the first inning. First pitch misses downstairs. When the Blue Jays and the A's met back at Rogers Center, they had almost identical records. The A's were 1 game under 500. The Blue Jays were 1 game over 500, but it's been a different story since then. Oakland has been one of the best teams in baseball over the last 6 weeks. And the Blue Jays have been struggling, chasing 500.
In that 4-game series, they out-hit the Blue Jays 44-23. And they came up with their share of clutch hits also. They're 11 for 40 with runners in scoring position.
Swing and a miss from Chapman. 1-2.
Blue Jays, on the other hand, were just 6 for 32, hitting with runners in scoring position in that series.
As a team, the Jays hit 183 compared to 293 for Oakland. They beat him in every aspect of the game.
Every time you looked up, there were runners on base for the Athletics.
Two balls and 2 strikes. Nobody out. Bottom of the 3rd inning. Oakland with a 1-0 lead. Nice block by Bailey. That ball was well out in front of home plate.
Well, decision time, I think, for the A's now. Start that runner over at first base. Another changeup for Estrada. And he bounces it. Nice play by Bailey to corral it.
Inside. Ball 4. 3 walks issued by Estrada now. So the first 2 reach base here in the bottom of the 3rd. Martini with a single and Chapman with a walk.
Second baseman, number 8, Jed Lowrie.
So Jed Lowrie, who has been their most consistent hitter the last couple of seasons, got 17 homers and 66 RBIs.
Boy, he's putting together some good at-bats. These first 2 at-bats. He's hit .326 with runners in scoring position this year. 43 of those 66 RBIs coming in these types of situations. Very simple approach at the plate. He's not trying to do too much. Just put a good at-bat together and get the ball into the outfield.
There's ball hit deep to right field. Granderson back on the warning track. He makes the catch. Martini tags at second. He'll go to 3rd. Lowrie, he squared that ball up, but the sun is starting to set here in Oakland. The air's a little bit cooler. That ball didn't carry it all.
Yeah, it looked like from the trajectory and the sounds and the way he hit it, it sounded like he had enough to get it at least off the wall. Ball died deep, but it was deep enough to tag up the runner at second base.
I honestly think this ballpark has a lot to do with the A's record here at home. They have not played as well at home as they have on the road. They're an offensive team. They rely a lot on the home runs. They've got a 26-22 record, just 4 games over 500 here in Oakland.
They're a fly ball hitting type of team. And with all of the foul grounds that you see here, fly balls hitting teams that hit a lot of fly balls, those pop flies that might end in the stands in other ballparks end up being caught here.
Chris Davis hits one in the air. He didn't get all of it. Hernandez calling for it. He makes the catch, and that'll score a run. Martini tags up at third, comes in to score. Davis picks up another RBI. For Davis, that's RBI number 81. And Oakland has a 2-0 lead.
First baseman, number 28.
Some guys just have a knack of knocking in runs, and that's what Davis has turned into.
Yeah, they are a team that at that time manufactured some runs. Single walk and then a couple of long fly balls will score their second run.
Matt Olson flying out to right field to end the first. Olson was just 2 for 10 in the series against the Rockies. They went from Texas in that blazing Texas heat, over 100 degrees in each of the games they played in Arlington, to Colorado in that thin air.
Yeah, a great series in Texas. They swept the Rangers. A couple of those games they came back and won after they were down by a lot. Colorado's no pushover, though.
No, they're a good team as well.
They are a good team. They're just a game back now of the Dodgers in the National League West.
Colorado 57-47. They're actually in third place, a half a game behind Arizona, but that National League wildcard race is really going to be interesting before it's all said and done. I think that's why we have so much activity before the trade deadline. Ground ball right to Morales. He'll step on the bag, and that'll end the inning, but the Oakland A's get another run. Thanks to Chris Davis and a sac fly. He now has driven in 81, and Oakland has a 2-0 lead.
And if you happen to need a restaurant recommendation in almost any major American city, well, he would definitely be the guy to ask. That's because at the end of June, when Jackson made his first start for the Athletics, he tied the major league record for most teams played for at 13. Now, he's played a lot of baseball in a lot of different ballparks, but he'll probably always remember one game, September 9th, 2003. On his 20th birthday, he made his MLB debut, and he did it against none other than Randy Johnson. He pitched 6 innings, giving up just 1 run. That went on to be his very first victory. Guys, what a way to start a very good career.
Indeed it was, and he has had a very good career. It's just unusual that he's pitched for so many different teams, but obviously you have to be good to pitch for that many different teams in the big leagues. But he is looking for his 90 or his 100th career win. He's got 99 career wins.
And he's pitched a long time. He first came up with the Dodgers in 2003 after being drafted out of high school just 2 years prior. He has bounced around over the years.
Oscar Hernandez, a ball and a strike. Teoscar called out on strikes his first time up. Jackson may have thrown his best slider of the night. That same type pitch right there.
Yeah, down and away, and he's going to have to make the adjustment to either lay off of it or learn to hit that ball the other way. Pitchers look at a lot of video, just like the hitters look at them. They look at hitters and they find a weakness and they try to exploit it.
And if you continue to swing at it, you're going to get a steady diet of that breaking ball. Sean mentioned Edwin Jackson's major league debut. He won that game 4-1 over the Diamondbacks and Randy Johnson. It's really interesting to look at the lineup for the Dodgers on that team he pitched for. Give you an idea how long he's been playing. Cesar Sturris led things off. He was the shortstop, and then Paul LaDuca was the catcher, and the former Blue Jay Sean Green hit third. Adrian Beltre was playing third base. Ron Coomer was playing first base. Robin Ventura took over defensively at first. I mean, the list of players, it gives you an idea.
Those guys have all been.
They've all retired.
Have second jobs as either managers or announcers.
And Randy Johnson is in the Hall of Fame. That's pretty cool to go back. Eric Gagne saved that game for Jackson. That was his first major league game. For Gagne, that was his 50th save of the season. A lot of good memories in that major league debut for Edwin Jackson. Another foul back out of play off the bat of Teoscar Hernandez. Oakland with a 2-0 lead.
Adrian Beltre had to be a rookie around that time.
Yeah, he was close.
In 2003, if he was playing third base for the Dodgers.
He wasn't a rookie, no.
He wasn't.
He came up in '98.
Oh my goodness. He has been around a long time.
Yes, he has. He was in his 5th full season in 2003. He's played 21 years. There's some talk that he might be dealt before 4 o'clock Eastern time. He has said time and time again he doesn't want to leave Texas.
But how about the lure of trying to get back to the playoffs?
He's played in 1 World Series. That was in 2011 when Texas lost the Cardinals. So I'm sure that that's got to be lingering there. Hey, if he wants to play next year, he can always come back as a free agent.
Sure. Tell you what, they'd be getting a heck of a player and a heck of a leader.
Hernandez fighting off that inside fastball, staying alive. I think it's going to be interesting from now until 4 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow afternoon. Just all the different trades are going to come down.
Still a lot of teams out there looking for certain things. Still a lot of players' names that you hear. Chris Archer's name. Read a lot about him today.
Yeah, it sounds like he's going to be moved. There's another breaking ball. Hard slider gets Hernandez for the 2nd time. Marco Estrada made a rehab start down in AAA and had to leave that game because he experienced a little bit of a blister, and this is in between innings. He's looking at that middle finger on his pitching hand. I don't recall Marco ever dealing with a blister issue until that rehab start down in the minor leagues.
Never. I've never heard of that. I've never heard him talking about that.
Ledmus Diaz goes after the first pitch, and it's a high fly ball to right field. Steve Piscotty makes the catch, 2 away.
So we'll have to see what comes of that. He went out there, I believe it is after the 1st inning on that rehab start. He's coming back now. I see him now coming back into the dugout, so it looks like he's going to continue.
There haven't been as many instances of blister problems this year as we saw last year in baseball. And last year it was almost epidemic how many pitchers were dealing with blisters, but it hasn't been the case this year. Brandon Drury, he popped out to the 3rd baseman, his only time up. Nice play by Chapman at third. He takes a hit away from his counterpart, Brandon Drury. Chapman made an error on a much more routine play back in the second. This time he takes a hit away on a hot shot to his left. He gloves it, goes to a knee, pops up and fires across the diamond in time. Nice play at third. Cleveland, they just haven't seemed to really hit on all cylinders just yet in that ball game. Ramirez took the loss. Irvin Santana started that game for Minnesota against Shane Bieber. Both the starters did not factor into the decision. Stephen Piscotty with a leadoff single. Let's go right back to Jamie Campbell.
Now batting center fielder, number 20, Baretta.
Well, what a game that was. 13 innings, and Aaron Nola started for Philadelphia. He had allowed a run on 4 hits. David Price, he had allowed a run on 8 hits. Price and Nola, starters doing their thing. I looked at the top of the Red Sox lineup with Betts, Benintendi, J.D. Martinez, Mitch Moreland, Xander Bogaerts. They were hitless.
Yeah, for the whole game.
The whole game.
It had to be around 25, wasn't it?
15, 23, 0 for 23.
0 for 23.
That's a lineup that was really stymied.
I'll tell you how good. That shows you how good Aaron Nola is.
Yeah, he's very good.
He's a good pitcher.
Marcana homered off of Estrada back in the second. He drove in the first run of this game. Home run for kind of number 14 on the season. Swinging the bat well lately. It was his second home run in his last 8 games. High fly ball into center. Piscotty's back to first to tag. Grichuk makes the catch, and he hustles it back in quickly to keep Piscotty at first. Good communication there. Teoscar Hernandez came all the way over to center to tip off Grichuk that Piscotty had gone back to tag.
Yeah, that other outfielder becomes the eyes of the fielder fielding the baseball. He's telling him what that runner is doing, tagging or not. So that's why, as an outfielder, never take anything for granted. He'll tell you where to throw the ball. He came up throwing and stopped Piscotty at second, or excuse me, at first, from going to second.
Marcus Semien, the shortstop. He popped out to the catcher his only time up. Fastball for a strike. Oh, he mentioned we saw Estrada dealing with his pitching hand. It looked like he was aware of at least a hot spot on his middle finger of his right hand.
And I'm trying to see if he is favoring that or looking at it or dealing with it. Watch him, his body language and the way he moves those fingers. You would think he throws changeup, that wouldn't be a problem. Because normally when pitchers spin a breaking ball, they start to get that hot spot on the middle finger.
It's all just a matter of how that baseball and the seams of the baseball create friction on your fingers. Most often that blister occurs on the middle finger, and that is where Estrada appears to be concerned about. Two and two to Simeon. Fly ball down toward the Blue Jays bullpen, and that'll be over the bullpen, out of play. There's
There you go.
young A's fan that gets a souvenir. Another 2-2 pitch. Another foul back. It was 17 degrees at the start of this ball game, and it has dropped off significantly. And that's what it does here in the Bay Area. The nights will be very cool.
And making it tough to knock the ball out of the ballpark. That air just grabs the ball and holds it up.
This is a little looper that's going to drop in front of Granderson. Piscotty read it perfectly. He's headed to third. Piscotty, the heads-up base runner, saw the ball off the bat of Simeon. Saw that it was going to drop in front of Granderson, and he motors first to third easily.
What a great read by Piscotty. The coaches will help you a little bit because they have different angles to help you run the bases, but he didn't need a coach on this one. Another changeup from Marco, down and away, and Simeon, excuse me, swing to right field, and there's Piscotty. He knows exactly where Curtis Granderson, the right fielder, is playing, and that ball is going to fall down, so he can go first to third easily.
With one out, Jonathan Lucroy, he has one sacrifice bunt this season. Oakland doesn't bunt often. And he's not bunting here. He drives it into right field. Granderson makes the catch. Tagging is Piscotty. Here's the throw toward the plate. It'll be cut off. Jonathan Lucroy with a sacrifice fly to right field. Second sac fly of the ball game, and Oakland has taken a 3-0 lead.
That's why it was so important for Piscotty to read that ball off the bat of Simeon and go first to third. You can score so many different ways from third base without the benefit of a base hit. Lucroy very appreciative right there with the hug of Piscotty going first to third as he gets him an RBI.
Get in position for the sacrifice fly. RBI number 34 for Jonathan Lucroy. That's his fourth sacrifice fly of the season. Nik Martini, the leadoff man, he's 1 for 2. Singled and scored in the third.
Blue Jays have a plan for Marco Estrada tonight. They weren't going to let on how many pitches or how many innings he is going. They have a number that they're going to deal with. Remember, he has not pitched in the big leagues for almost 4 weeks. And he had that blister problem. So he hasn't really been able to get out on a mound and throw in game conditions.
Last appearance was the 3rd of July. And he pitched just a third of an inning in that outing. For Marco, this is his 18th start of the season. Bailey trying to sell it to the umpire. Looked like a pretty good pitch. The home plate umpire DJ Rayburn called it a ball.
Yeah, and the runner over at first base, Marcus Semien, he's been their best base stealer. They don't do that a lot either, but he's been their best base stealer. He was trying to time up Marco Estrada.
A little pop into right field. Long run for Granderson. He lays out, and it bounces off his face. The runner coming around is going to score from first. That's Marcus Semien, and Granderson had that ball bounce up and hit him in the face, and then bounced over toward the center fielder. He had a long run. He dove and didn't have a chance to make a catch, but the ball bounced up and hit him, and then caromed away from him.
Yeah, he was just trying to keep that ball in front of him so that runner wasn't going to score. But unfortunately for the Blue Jays, that one was right. It looked like off of the nose, and caromed away from both him and Grichuk, who was trying to back up the play.
Just a little pop-up off the end of the bat. Granderson with a long run just tried to smother it, and the ball bounced up and hit him in the face, trying to get a glove on it. You can see how it just bounced off the grass and struck him in the face, but he was attended to by the training staff, and he has taken his position in right field.
Now batting third baseman, number 26, Matt Chapman.
Second hit of the night for Martini. Sure, it's going to be scored a double. Watch Curtis dive, and again, just trying to block this ball and keep it in front of him, and he gets a face full of that baseball.
Should be a double and an RBI for Martini. His 5th double of the season, RBI number 7, and it's 4-0 Oakland. Semien scored all the way from first base once that ball bounced away from Granderson. Third baseman Matt Chapman has grounded out and walked. Changeup missed just low. Estrada's not getting any of those low strikes called in his favor.
Yeah, he has thrown about 3 or 4 of them right there, right at the knees. That's where you want to be as Jake Petrushka starts to get loose. He must be zeroing in on the pitch count that he was set to go to tonight. That's where Marco's got to live, though, I think, down in the strike zone with his fastball and his changeup combination.
Yeah, he's got to have that low strike, and he hasn't gotten a few of those calls go his way. And Marco's second to last start, he threw 93 pitches. That was at Houston against the Astros on the 27th of June. But that's almost non-factor, such a long time ago. There's a strike. Full count now with 2 outs. Runner at second base is Nik Martini, the left fielder. 2 runs in here for Oakland. 2 runs on 3 hits here in the 4th. Marco Estrada has now thrown 68 pitches. Ground ball hit toward first. Morales flips to Estrada. That'll end the inning. But the A's score 2 more runs. They take a 4-0 lead as we head to the 5th. Time now for a Blue Jays Central Updaters. Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio.
RBI Baseball 18 delivers an all-new franchise mode and much more, and it is available now. Learn more at rbigame.com. Rated E for everyone. Buck.
Thank you very much, Sean. Obviously, a great opportunity to catch up on all your favorite players. RBI 18. Oakland behind Edwin Jackson has a 4-0 lead. The Blue Jays have one hit. And Blue Jays had back-to-back walks to start the game. Curtis Granderson has the only hit for the Blue Jays. It'll be Maley, Granderson, and Russell Martin here in the 5th.
They have to take advantage of what the A's have given them tonight. 3 walks, an error, and a double. And they have not been able to get any runs across.
High fly ball to right. No problem for Piscotty. He's there. 1 out. The Blue Jays are 0 for 6 so far in this game with runners in scoring position, and that has been the difference in the game. They've not been able to come up with any clutch hits. They've only been able to come up with that double. It was a leadoff double by Granderson, and they couldn't take advantage of it.
Yeah, he never moved off of second base. The A's took advantage of the trade deadline to fortify their bullpen. So when you play them now, it's a 6-inning game, sometimes even a 5-inning game. They are so deep in that pen. They have 3 closers in my mind that can help them at the back end of the bullpen. So if you're the Blue Jays, you got to start getting something going right now. 5th inning.
Jake Petrushka was up in the last half inning. Now Aaron Loop is loosening up for the Blue Jays. Jed Lowrie's a switch hitter. Chris Davis a right-handed, and then Matt Olson a lefty. Next 3 scheduled hitters for Oakland. Estrada, you can see he's a bit frustrated. 4 innings, 4 runs on 5 hits. He's given up a home run. 2 sac flies off the bats of Chris Davis and Jonathan Lucroy. Nik Martini had a bloop double that caromed off Curtis Granderson and allowed Marcus Semien to score all the way from first. It was just a little flare into right field that bounced off Granderson and allowed Semien to score from first.
Curtis now is doing his best to try and get on base. Blue Jays have put some on base percentage players at the top of their lineup tonight.
There's a fly ball to center. Mark Hanna is there. Granderson's retired 2 away.
Save big at the outdoor living event at Home Hardware, on from July 25th to August 7th. Here's how.
We are in Oakland. First of 3. We'll be here tomorrow night and then Wednesday afternoon before the Blue Jays head up to Seattle to take on the Mariners in a 4-game series. Russell Martin has walked and struck out in his 2 plate appearances. Drives this one in the alley. That's going to get down and go all the way to the wall. Martin is headed towards second, and he'll get there with a stand-up 2-out double. Just the 2nd hit of the ball game for the Jays.
And both of them are doubles. What a pretty swing for Russell Martin. I mentioned they have their 2 highest on-base percentage players up there. Granderson and then Martin came into this at-bat with a 327 on-base percentage. That's going up after that swing. He slashes that ball hard into the gap in left center field, giving the Blue Jays another chance to score a run.
For Martin, that is his 248th career double.
They have had 6 at-bats out of their top 2 guys tonight.
There's a drive to left. That's going to hang up. Martini right in front of the fence. Richie didn't really square it up. Kind of got jammed a bit and flies out on the warning track to left. Russell Martin is stranded with a double. third, goes 69 pitches. That takes him over 4 innings. Charged with 4 earned runs on 5 hits. He walked 3 batters. None of those walks factored into the scoring. He gave up a solo home run in the second to Martini. And his night has come to an end. Overall, really not bad. That was the only ball that was really hit hard against Estrada, was that home run.
Yeah, that was it. So I think encouraging signs for him. We now know it was 4 innings and around 70 pitches. So he is over. His night is over. Aaron Loup, for the 50th time, will come in. Aaron worked a couple of nights ago, 2/3 of an inning in Chicago, had a hit and a strikeout in that one. You mentioned the switch hitter and then a lefty 2 batters later, and that's why Aaron is into the ball game.
Jed Lowrie walked in, flied out against Estrada as a left-handed hitter. His numbers are almost identical. Lefty-righty doesn't make much of a difference. 273 against lefties, 275 against righties. The big difference is he's got more power and certainly more at-bats as a left-handed hitter. 14 of his 17 home runs have come from left side of the plate. Big breaking ball misses inside.
He's looking for his first hit in his career against Aaron Loup. He's giving him the collar in 7 at-bats.
You know, that's significant because obviously Loup's a 1-inning guy, and Lowrie's going to face him 7 different situations and has yet to get a hit off him. You know, you wonder if there are teams interested in Aaron Loup, given the year he's had and the lack of consistent left-handed relievers.
He's durable. I mean, he's always playing. He never gets hurt. He can get right-handers out. Jed Lowrie keeps going over that right side and keep failing against Aaron Loup because his changeup, I think, is the equalizer against right-handed batters, and he can throw that fastball inside also.
Lowrie strikes out. He's continuing to struggle against Aaron Loup. He's now 0 for 8, first out of the bottom of the 5th.
That time it looked like a slider. First time that Oakland A has gone down swinging tonight. Slider's been a little bit better for Aaron, a little bit more consistent with his slider lately.
So this is Chris Davis. He had a sac fly in the 3rd. No swing on the appeal down to the first base umpire. Sam Holbrook is working at first tonight. He'll be behind the plate tomorrow, of course.
Yeah, it just looked like Chris Davis was trying to get out of the way of this inside slider. And that was not an attempt at swinging at that pitch.
But that is certainly kind of an old-fashioned approach at the plate. You see, basically, and that's what we used to call stepping in the bucket when you were a kid. He's stepping in the bucket looking for something on the inside part of the plate. He just gets everything back on that back leg.
He went on that one. I thought he would be even closer to the plate with him stepping that far towards the third base dugout. He's off the plate just a little bit. If you're going to go in there, I think you should go way in there. At least early on in the counts. If you go in there and he fouls it off, there's nothing wrong with that.
Davis has had back-to-back 40 home run seasons for Oakland. His previous high prior to coming to California was 27. He hit for the Brewers.
He's on pace for another 40 home run season.
Luke loses him on ball 4. 1-out walk here in the 5th. So now Matt Olson, the lefty, this is the guy that Luke really needs to get. Jake Petrushka has gotten back up. He is loose down in the Blue Jays bullpen in right field. Second time Jake has been up tonight. This is Matt Olson, the first baseman. First pitch strike. Looking at Olson and how he steps in the batter's box in his stance, how would you pitch to him?
He's got the bat out over the plate. See that over there? And I would try and jam him as much as possible.
He got jammed on that pitch, and it's a routine fly ball to center. Loop got that ball in on his hands.
Throw it right up around his arms. You know, when you see a guy holding the bat out over the plate like that, throw it right at his elbow. Can't pull his arms back in to try and pull it.
Too much movement. You got to bring your hands back and then get them back again. So Luke was able to get that pitch right where he wanted it. Stephen Piscotty singled this last time up, came around to score. Scored on the Lucroy sacrifice fly to right. He was looking fastball.
Better slider. Much better depth on that slider. That's where you want to throw it, I think, to right-handed batters, especially guys who have some power. And Piscotty has some power. 14 homers, 50 RBIs. Throw that ball in there.
Right through the legs of Loop. Drury was there to make the play. Backed him up effectively. Piscotty is thrown out. The A's leave a base runner on in the 5th, but they'll take a 4-0 lead into the 6th.
World Series championships and celebrate Blue Jays heroes of the past. Make sure to arrive early for the pregame ceremony, and the first 20,000 fans will receive an Alomar, Molitor, and Olerud triple bobblehead. That's Saturday, August 11th. BlueJays.com for tickets. Buck, Pat.
Thank you very much, Sean. That's going to be a great event, and you get a terrific, unusual, triple-headed bobblehead doll, but also a chance to see some of those great players that played on both of those teams, 92 and 93. Pat, you played on the 92 team, and obviously the first time to win a World Series for the Blue Jays. That had to be a terrific group of guys, and it had to be a special feeling when you beat the Braves.
It was a very close team that only cared about winning and caring about each other on that team. And it was a fun team.
How much did Winfield have to do with the attitude of that team?
I think he set that tone early on in the season. I think we opened up in Detroit against the Tigers, and the Tigers had a decent team in 1992. And I remember him hitting a home run to help us win a ball game there, a game that we didn't have any business winning. And the rest was history. He would come in and say, hey, boys, get on my back. I feel really good today. I've got a couple of home runs. I don't know what anybody else is getting, but I'm going to get a couple of home runs. And I think he was the veteran presence and leadership for the hitters. Jack Morris was the veteran presence and the leader of the pitchers. Two players that we acquired in the offseason to really get the Blue Jays over the hump.
Yeah, it was a pretty special team, and you look at the ball club, and Morris pitched that opening game and went 9 innings in his first game with the Blue Jays. How about that? 9 innings in your first start of the year. That doesn't happen anymore.
That doesn't happen anymore. Your first opening day.
Yeah, Jack went 9 innings. Not only did he go 9 innings, he threw 144 pitches in opening day. He and Bill Gullickson were the starting pitchers in that ball game. And the Blue Jays won the opener 4-2 to set the tone for that terrific season. And how about that atmosphere at Tiger Stadium? 51,068 in attendance.
You don't think
day.
Jack was fired up to pitch for the Blue Jays against his former team?
Against the Tigers. I remember Jack talking about that game because Cito Gaston came to the mound late in the game and said, hey, you know, I got a couple of good relievers down in that bullpen, and Dwayne Ward and Tom Henke. And Jack said, I got this, Cito. I got this.
Use them tomorrow. You don't need them today.
And there was Solarte. He pops out to center field, 2 away.
At the Honda Checkered Flag event, the real victory lap is the drive home.
First of 3 here in Oakland. The A's have a 4-0 lead as the Blue Jays bat. In the top of the 6th, Teoscar Hernandez has struck out twice against Edwin Jackson. Boy, Jackson got off to a shaky start to this game. He walked the first 2 batters of the game, but the Blue Jays couldn't take advantage.
He also wild pitched a runner into scoring position in that first inning. It took him 21 pitches to get on track. Seems to be winding into shape right now. His next pitch will be number 100.
And he is in line for his 100th career win. Double barrel action for Oakland. The lefty is Brian Buckner, and the righty is Ryan Dull, who was just recalled from the minor leagues. Hard throwing right-hander. We mentioned the A's bullpen and how good they have been this season. They are 41-0, 41-0 when they take a lead into the 7th inning. They don't give it up.
No. And it just got stronger with the acquisition of Jeurys Familia from the Mets.
There's a base hit to left field. That'll get down in front of Martini, and Teoscar Hernandez has a 2-out hit. Just the 3rd hit surrendered by Edwin Jackson, and here comes the skipper of Oakland, Bob Melvin. Melvin's got that deep bullpen, and Edwin Jackson has done a nice job pitching into the 6th inning. It goes 5 2/3, and they have made the call for the right-hander Ryan Dull. So Melvin will take the baseball from Edwin Jackson, who's in line for his 100th career win. A good outing for Edwin here tonight in front of the home crowd. minor leagues. He had gone through a tough stretch over his last 12 outings going back to May 11th. He had an ERA of 8.71, sent him down to the minors. He's back now.
Yeah, try and get him right. They added an extra arm in that bullpen when they sent one of their starters back down. Dull in 20 games. There are the numbers. Fastball, breaking ball. That's about what you're going to get from him. Basically a two-pitch pitcher, but he throws a lot of strikes. He has had 17 strikeouts, just 5 walks this season in those 18 innings with the A's.
Dull has pitched in parts of 4 seasons with Oakland. Breaking ball off the bat of Heledmus Diaz. Blue Jays shortstop reached on an error in the second, flied out in the fourth. He is 0 for 2. Blue Jays have just 3 hits. A double by Granderson, double by Martin, and a 2-out single here in the 6th by Teoscar Hernandez. That was it. That's all that Edwin Jackson gave up. Bouncing ball. Simeon, it's short, goes to second to force out Hernandez. That ends the inning. So Ryan Dull closes out the Blue Jays in the top of the 6th. Bottom of the 6th coming up.
Seem to be having a whole lot of fun doing it. For example, a few weeks ago, Mark Canha hit a 2-run bomb against San Fran that ultimately won them the game. Now, afterwards, he did give a bit of a small bat flip, and that, of course, did upset some people. After the game, he apologized for it, but a few days later, he thought about it and actually took the apology back, saying, people getting offended by bat flips is so silly. I'm not sorry. I'm not really sorry. It's part of our game. Now, that wasn't the end of it, though. No, just 5 days ago, he released these t-shirts for sale. Canha bat flipping season. I'm sure these shirts will upset some people, but guys, if there's one fan base that understands the joy of a perfectly timed bat flip, well, it's Blue Jays fans.
Absolutely. You can't even call that a bat flip when you compare it to Jose Bautista's bat flip. That was a bat flip.
That was a real bat flip in a big type of atmosphere. Also, Jake Petrushka into the ball game. Jake has been pitching very well lately. Last time out against his former team, the White Sox, he threw 2 innings and gave up just 1 run. That was on a home run. But he's throwing harder. Boy, has he gotten some movement back on his fastball.
Pretty good looking pitch right there. Melee asked for the appeal down to first, but looked like it was a strike. So Petrushka working to Mark Canha, who now has a t-shirt in his honor. Home run, that was off Estrada back in the 2nd, his 14th of the season. You know, it really is interesting how sensitive everybody has become. He felt like he had to apologize to the Giants after the bat flip. I mean, we have seen things over the years where guys would do crazy things and you might get one in the ribs the next day, but nobody ever thought about apologizing.
I don't think he showed anybody up, really. No. You know, if that was the Giants' dugout and he flipped it to him and said something to him, but that was his dugout. It obviously was a big home run. I'm not really sure, you know, what part of the game it was in. I don't know if it was a game winner. It looked like it was a big home run, a game winner. So he flipped it, said something to his bench. Not that big of a deal.
And it's the Bay Series, the Bay Area, Bay Bridge Series, Oakland and the Giants. They have that rivalry. They always play against each other. It's a lot of fun. I think we have legislated a lot of the fun out of it.
Yeah, let the players be emotional. Now, if you start showing somebody up and start doing things to offend other people, that's different.
Well, then you might have to wear one.
Right.
That's all right.
Right. I think everybody understands that.
I think that was part of the excitement of a game when you have a rivalry. I mean, when I was in Kansas City, we had a great rivalry with the Oakland A's. And there were a lot of bench clearing situations back and forth. There's a fly ball to right. Granderson coming in. He's still coming in. He'll get there. Retire kind of first time. But it was a different game, and obviously there were a lot of bad feelings. I remember one day Sal Bando, the third baseman for Oakland, was at home plate. Our catcher, Ed Kirkpatrick, said something to him. Bando lifted up his mask and punched him. He never got out of the crouch.
Didn't he know something was up when he took his mask off?
He just took it out and punched him before he could do anything.
And then everything blew up after that. We used to always get in fights with the Oakland A's. Remember where they were the big, strong Oakland A's, the swinging A's of the 80s, the Bash Brothers and all that kind of stuff. Now, they would pound our teams. I was with the Indians. They would pound our teams on the scoreboard and then pound us in all the fights that we have with them, too.
You were outmanned. Marcus Semien, the shortstop, he is behind, or even count 1-1. Semien singled and scored in the fourth. Now it's 1-2. Ricky Henderson, he used to create a lot of excitement, but he did it with his wheels, with his bat. He was part of a very aggressive Oakland A's team.
You know, he never did anything to show up the other teams. He did it just to motivate him and get his team fired up, things like that. That just wasn't in him. Everybody thought that that was directed at the other team. No, that was just Ricky being Ricky.
This is going to drop for a base hit down the right field line. Semien's around first. He's headed for second. Granderson feels it cleanly, so he'll keep Semien to a double. Semien with a double, his second hit of the game. Let's check in with Jamie Campbell.
Now batting, the catcher, number 21, Jonathan Lucroy.
A very successful return off the DL for James Paxton. 7 innings, no runs on 3 hits. He has struck out 8 and hasn't walked a batter. And he's only thrown 82 pitches. Been very economical.
Wow.
Garrett Cole, he had a no-hitter through 5 innings in that game. But he is now out of the game. Ryan Presley, who was just picked up from the Twins, pitching in relief for Houston. Seattle picked up a couple of pitchers today. Zach Duke, the left-handed reliever, and Adam Warren from the Yankees. So there's going to be a lot more deals. I bet you we have more deals before the night is done tonight.
Teams are trying to fortify their bullpens and play in that bullpen game. If the starters can't get you deep into the game, let's see if we can turn it into a 5 or 6 inning game, and let's fortify the bullpens.
Jonathan Lucroy had a sac fly in the 4th inning. Lucroy for the season came into this game batting .241. Just 2 home runs.
Just a couple of years ago, he was a big offensive player. When he was with the Milwaukee Brewers, they sent him over to the Texas Rangers. He's one of the best offensive catchers in the American League.
He had 53 doubles in 2014 for the Brewers. That was the most in the National League. He's been a 2-time All-Star. Twice an All-Star in Milwaukee. But he hasn't had that same offensive production in 2014. He hit .301. He had a career-high 24 homers and 81 RBIs in 2016 when he was dealt from Milwaukee to Texas. Numbers combined career season. He draws a walk.
Now batting, the fielder, number 38.
So here is Nik Martini. He's done a nice job since coming up from the minors. Tonight he is in left field. He has played some center field. Dustin Fowler has been their center fielder, but he hasn't been swinging the bat well.
Yeah, in fact, their left-handed hitting center fielders haven't done a whole lot. Just a 217 average. They haven't gotten a lot of offense from their center fielders who hit left-handed.
Martini is a rookie. This is just his 19th big league game. He's 28 years old. He was originally signed by the St. Louis Cardinals in 2011 as a 7th round draft pick. Ground ball to third. Russ Martin makes a nice play, but couldn't come up with it cleanly. He's able to get the force out. It looked like he threw a shot put over to second, bounced it. But they made a nice play in second. Diaz played that short hop, and Russ Martin made a nice grab, but didn't come out of the glove with a good grip on the baseball.
No, and it just messed up the timing. And what a play by Diaz. They were in the shift, so the shortstop was taking the throw at second base. Russell got to it, fielded it cleanly, but then it looked like when he was reaching into his glove to make the throw, watch Diaz, the shortstop, he's going to take the throw. Russell catches it. There's the mishandle, and he double clutches, bounces it over there, but what a job by Diaz to at least get the force out at second.
Matt Chapman batting with runners at the corners and 2 out. Jake Petrushka in his first inning of relief has given up a double and a walk trying to pitch out of this inning. Missed with a fastball downstairs. Good fastball.
Yeah, good fastball with late movement on it. 94 miles an hour with some sink.
Petrushka's ahead 1-2. Way outside. Now it's even. Marcus Semien is at third. He has 2 hits tonight. He had a double with 1 out. Lucroy followed that with a walk. Lucroy was out on the fielder's choice. Nik Martini is now at first. First and third, 2 outs. Chapman swings and misses. Petrushka will get a strikeout and strand a pair of base runners. 6 in the books here in Oakland. The A's have a 4-0 lead. Redeem your WestJet dollars to over 450 partner destinations around the globe. Join today at westjet.com/rewards. New pitcher into the ball game for the Oakland A's to start the 7th is the big right-hander Lou Trevino.
What a year that Lou Trevino has put together. He's come out of nowhere. Last year he began the season at Double-A, was promoted to Triple-A Nashville on June the 20th. He was 8-3 last year. He's carried that on in his big league performance. 41 games, 8-1, 128 earned run average. He throws hard. They've got some hard throwers at the back end of this bullpen.
Brandon Drury will lead things off against Trevino. Takes a strike. Drury has popped out and grounded out. Bouncing ball toward third. Matt Chapman scoops and fires in time. Nifty play by the young third baseman.
Well, you love watching infielders who can really play defensively work at their craft. Watch him charge in, and at the last minute, watch him scoop at this ball.
Now batting.
Just swipe at it, and he picks it cleanly. He has to be nimble, cover a lot of ground, have soft hands. Picks that thing. That's why I was so surprised that he made an error on that easy ground ball.
That was the easiest play he's had all night. Luke Maile. Check swing foul.
This cannot be any fun facing a pitcher like Lou Trevino. His fastball can touch triple digits and it's got some sink on it, so it's tough to get the ball in the air.
He's 6'5". He creates a very challenging angle for hitters on top of that mound, and really it's that downward plane, a lot of movement on that fastball. It's 98 miles an hour.
Yeah, with movement. He's got 8 wins out of the pen. That's the most amongst relievers in the major leagues, and his ERA excellent, third best at 128.
The A's drafted Trevino in 2013. He was 11th round pick out of Slippery Rock. How about that? Slippery Rock. I know you used to watch Slippery Rock on the college football scoreboard.
Yes.
To find out what the score was at Slippery Rock. And Trevino strikes out. Nearly 2 up, 2 down here in the 7th for the Blue Jays.
That is some good scouting to find somebody at Slippery Rock in the 11th round and then to come to the big leagues and do what he has done. But he's just one of many in that bullpen. They've given them the 4th best earned run average in the American League. Yankees, Astros, Red Sox, all playoff type teams, 1, 2, and 3, and there are the Athletics, 4th best.
They have been charged with 9 blown saves, but blown saves can be a very deceiving stat. Sometimes you get a blown save in the 6th inning. Come into a ball game, give up a couple runs, give up the lead. Luke Maile is down, and now Curtis Granderson bats with 2 outs. He tries to check his swing and went around. Granderson is 1 for 2 with a walk and a double.
They've done a heck of a job of fortifying that backside of the bullpen. This is your 7th inning guy. Familia is your 8th inning guy. Blake Trinan's your 9th inning guy. They're all similar type of pitchers. Right-handed, hard throwing with big sinkers.
Granderson battling, fouls enough. Trinan's an all-star. Pitched in the all-star game. But they have put together a very effective bullpen. They have just 1 lefty in their bullpen, Ryan Buckner. We saw him throwing earlier. He has taken a seat now. They're into a pretty strict regimen, 7th, 8th, 9th here in Oakland. It's a very effective bullpen. Jeurys Familia just acquired from the Mets, and there's strike 3. 98 miles an hour. Down and in, gets Granderson 3 up, 3 down with a couple of strikeouts for Trevino. We'll go to the bottom of the 7th. Authority of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Rogers Blue Jays Baseball Partnership. Now they have a Legends race here in Oakland. Ricky Henderson, he's won a lot of these races, that's for sure. He's going to beat Eckersley and Raleigh Fingers.
Yeah, in the Hall of Fame race and in real life racing. Ricky Henderson wins it again over the Yak and Raleigh. Sure he appreciates that, right? Jaime Garcia into the ball game for the Blue Jays. This is his 18th game. He has been pitching out of the bullpen exclusively since coming off the disabled list. Last time he pitched just a couple of days ago, third of an inning. He was touched up for a couple of runs. He had trouble getting that breaking ball over in that game against the White Sox. See if things are a little bit different here in Oakland.
Jed Lowrie, the second baseman, has gone 0 for 2 so far tonight. Two balls and no strikes. Jaime Garcia signed in the offseason. He began the season as a starter. This is his 5th relief appearance.
He had some left shoulder inflammation that sent him to the disabled list in the middle of June to about the middle of July. He was also on the DL for about 9 days. Right at the end of May, same type of problems, shoulder inflammation. Since he has come back, they've put him in the bullpen, and he has teamed up with Aaron Loup as the only lefties for the Blue Jays. When he throws strikes, he can be very effective. His ball moves all over the place. Luke Maley's done a good job with him his last few times out when he has caught him. He has really used the fastball effectively.
Breaking ball hit right to the third baseman, and Russell Martin, he throws across the dive and in time, one away.
Save big at the outdoor living event at Home Hardware, on from July 25th to August 7th. Here's how.
Golden Gate Bridge in the background. You can see the Bay Bridge that connects San Francisco to the East Bay in Oakland. Beautiful part of the world. And it's a cool night here in Oakland, as is the case most summer nights. Chris Davis, the DH, is officially 0 for 0. 2 walks and a sac fly. He's had 3 plate appearances and has walked twice and picked up a sacrifice fly in the 3rd inning.
81 RBIs in hitting right at the major league average of 250, but those home runs and RBI is the big stats for Chris Davis.
There's a fly ball down the right field line. Curtis Granderson into foul territory makes a nice running catch. Granderson has had a lot of activity out there in right tonight.
He's been busy. Done a good job.
First baseman, number 28, Matt Olson.
So the first baseman, Matt Olson, he's taken the collar so far. He's over 3. Garcia has allowed just 1 hit pitching as a reliever. He's now thrown 6 2/3 innings. Coming out of the bullpen, just 1 hit allowed.
Yeah, his first outing was at Boston right before the All-Star break, 2/3 of an inning. Then those 2 extended outings against Minnesota. One of those was in the bullpen day when he threw 3 shutout innings, 9 up, 9 down. Followed that up with 6 up, 6 down. The only hit he gave up was against the White Sox.
Two balls and no strikes to the big first baseman, Matt Olson. Olson's got a lot of power, 21 homers and 50 RBIs this season. Popped it up. Maley going out. Russell Martin was in the shift. Luke does a nice job recognizing he had the best chance of making that play, and he does. Good inning for Jaime Garcia. 3 up, 3 down. When we come back, Russ Martin will lead things off. He doubled his last time up. Then Rando Grichuk and Kendrys Morales. The Blue Jays are now by 4. County Coliseum. It'll be game 2 of this 3-game series. It all starts at 9:30 Eastern. That's the pregame show with Jamie Campbell. 6:30 p.m. Pacific time on Sports Day. Sam Gaviglio will take the mound for the Blue Jays against Trevor Cahill in game 2 of this 3-game series. So make sure you check it all out tomorrow night.
And by the time we are on the air, the trade deadline would have come and gone. So we'll see what happens in the next 20 hours or so. Right now, Jeurys Familia, the big acquisition for the Oakland A's from the New York Mets, will take over. He has become their 8th inning guy. This is what teams have been doing over the last couple of years. Instead of getting setup guys, they're actually getting closers from other teams now to pitch the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning.
So Martin goes after the first pitch, and it's a grounder to short. 1 pitch, 1 out for Familia. Jeurys Familia led the National League in saves with 51 in 2016 for the Mets. He spent parts of 7 seasons in New York pitching for the Mets. He led the National League in games finished in 2015 and 2016, and he was an all-star in that great season in 2016.
When he left the Mets, he ranked 3rd on the Mets career save list with 123 saves. This is your setup guy. I'm going to start calling them 8th inning closers.
That's a good title, 8th inning closer. We're going to see one of those in Seattle. Alex Colomé,
yes,
is an 8th inning closer for the Mariners. Blake Trinan is the closer here in Oakland. Colomé pitches the 8th ahead of Edwin Diaz. It's not unlike what the Blue Jays did in 92 and 93 with Dwayne Ward and Tom Hinkie.
I'm going to throw another name in there who was big on those teams. Very underrated. Mike Timlin was the 7th inning guy. So this is nothing, new in baseball. It's been around for a while. It's just teams really go after these types of players now to finish off ball games. 7th inning guy, 8th inning guy, 9th inning guy. This is what Familia can do. Watch that sinker. It almost looks like a left-handed slider, doesn't it?
A lot of late break. That ball just disappeared. It was out over the plate. Familia is just 28 years old. This is his 7th big league season. He had parts of 2 seasons. He had 8 games in 12, 9 games in 13 with the Mets. And then he became a regular reliever in 2014.
Cost him a couple of minor leaguers and international slot money to pick up a guy like this to really fortify your bullpen.
Kendrys Morales 0 for 3. Blue Jays no runs on just 3 hits. Oakland has scored 4 runs. They only have 6 hits. Hard breaking ball misses. 2-1 now to Morales.
Athletics went into Colorado and got swept by the Rockies, so they're playing this one. They want to stop that losing streak.
They had been on fire. They had won 10 consecutive series. Upstairs. 3-1. They were swept. Their first series loss since June 12th, 13th, and 14th when they were swept by Houston. So they had a streak where they had 8 winning series and a 11 series unbeaten streak. Fouled out of play. 97. You were right about the big arms the back end of this bullpen.
And they're all the same. Hard sinkers. We saw Trevino's last inning. You're seeing Familia's, and if we see Blake Trinan tonight, you'll see an even bigger sinker. That's why I'm surprised the A's are in the shift against a guy who throws this hard and sinks the ball. How many times over the last couple of weeks have we seen Kendrys Morales slice a ball the other way? I don't know if this is the right defense against him.
Ball 4, breaking ball. And there's another situation where I just don't get it. The scoreboard tells you all the strategy you need to know. You got 2 outs. You're up by 4 runs. You throw a 3-2 breaking ball to walk a guy. Really?
Make him hit it. Make him hit their way on.
Especially to a veteran hitter like Morales. He's not going to chase a borderline pitch with 2 strikes. He's had enough experience. Now there's Solarte. He's in a little bit of a rough stretch. He's 0 for 3 again tonight. Solarte had a tough time in Chicago. He was 1 for 10 against the White Sox. His only hit came on Saturday. An RBI single in the 5th inning of that game. Big swing and a miss. 0-2.
That's a good fastball. Solarte looks like he's been limping around tonight. This time he's going to go down after that swing. And it looks like he's trying to recuperate, like something's bothering him in his lower half.
Yeah, we saw it when he ran up the bases earlier tonight, back in the third inning. 0-2. That's going to drop for a base hit. An 0-2 base hit for Solarte. Morales moves to second.
They never go quietly. I don't care what the score is. I don't care who's pitching. 2 outs, nobody on. 3-2 breaking ball walks Morales. 0-2 breaking ball. Solarte gets a hit. Just like that. The tying run is on deck.
And now you have a home run hitter at the plate in Teoscar Hernandez. The Blue Jays scored 5 runs on 5 hits in the 9th inning yesterday. And this is an 0-2 breaking ball. Just kind of spins out over the plate, and Solarte put a good swing on it. Comes up with his first hit of the night.
Just laid it out there for him. Young Ervis says, thank you very much. I'll take it.
2 on, 2 outs for Hernandez. Teoscar had a single his last time up. Takes the first pitch strike. Teoscar hit the tying home run in the game yesterday afternoon in Chicago. His 16th home run of the season. Oh, 0-2. For Hernandez, each of his last 6 home runs have either tied the game or given the Blue Jays the lead.
Clutch long baller. That home run yesterday got the Blue Jays going. They would go on to score 5 runs and blow that game wide open and win it.
Here's the 0-2 pitch. He got that hard breaking ball down and away, and that'll end the inning. Blue Jays will leave 2 more on base. We'll go to the bottom of the 8th. Oakland with a 4-0 lead. Now time for a Blue Jays Central update. Here's Jamie Campbell and Joe Siddle in the Samsung broadcast studio.
Friday, August 10th, it's 2 events in one night. Join us pregame for live performance from the Jim Cuddy Band. The patio opens at 4:30, weather permitting. BlueJays.com for tickets. Guys.
Thank you very much, Sean. It's always a good time at Rogers Center on Fridays. And a lot of Blue Jay fans here in attendance tonight. Oakland has a 4-0 lead, trying to take game 1 of this 3-game series. Jaime Garcia had a good inning of relief in the 7th, retired to side in order. Stephen Piscotty will lead things on. He goes after the first pitch. Marco Estrada started for the Blue Jays. He went 4 innings, allowed 4 runs on 5 hits, walked 3, and did not have a strikeout. Oh, and 2.
That's where Garcia is effective, throwing those pitches over the plate. Tough to hit the ball hard.
They mentioned Garcia has not been hit hard pitching as a reliever. He's allowed just 1 hit in 7 innings of relief. Working in his 2nd inning here tonight.
There's a good chance that the bullpen is going to have a different look tomorrow. Ken Giles sounds like he's coming here. We got word that John Axford's going to get another start.
Axford's going to start on Thursday against the Mariners, and that's going to be an interesting atmosphere given the fact that he's a Canadian starting pitcher pitching in Seattle against King Felix and the Mariners in front of a lot of Blue Jay fans. It should be a fun night. Axford fared very well in his first big league start. That was on Saturday in Chicago. 3 innings, no runs, just 1 hit. There's a high flying ball to deep center field. Randall Grichuk's going to run out of room. Stephen Piscotty, a solo home run. His 15th of the season, 2nd home run of the night for Oakland.
Nice pickup for the Oakland Athletics in the offseason. Piscotty now has a multi-hit game. He also has 15 home runs to go along with 51 RBIs from the right field position. That's what you want from right fielders, power and production. Another breaking ball from Garcia, and it's hammered to deep center field.
Piscotty's home run is 15th of the season. His career high is 22. He did that 2 years ago while playing for the Cardinals. He's been a good pickup.
From this area, from the Bay Area, so he's home.
Marcana hit the other home run for Oakland. That was the first run of the ball game in the 2nd. The changeup. It's 0-2 quickly. John Axford, he's sitting in the dugout. Actually, he went down to the bullpen now, but earlier he was sitting in the dugout. But he's been given the information he's probably going to start on Thursday against Felix Hernandez. There's his numbers as a starter.
He can't leave his buddies down there in the bullpen, right? Once a bullpenner, always a bullpenner.
Been down there his whole life. Bouncing ball over the mound. That'll get through for a base hit. Marcana has a 2-hit game.
And playing him in a little semi-shift, if you will. The shortstop, Diaz, he just can't get to that one. As kind of pushes it back through the middle. First 2 reach here in the 8th inning.
Marcana has raised his batting average 4 points tonight with a couple of hits. Marcus Simeon's had 2 hits tonight. A single and a double. He scored a run. Simeon with a late hack fouls it past first.
He had a great at-bat his last time up against Jake Petrushka. Jake threw him a pretty good pitch down and away. I think it was a slider off the plate, and Simeon just went right with it. Sliced it down the right field line. That's a good piece of hitting.
There's a high fly ball deep to left field. Teoscar Hernandez in front of the warning track drops it. Canna goes to third, and Teoscar just whipped on it. He got there, and I don't know if he got a glove on it, but the ball drops in left center. Simeon is on for a third time tonight.
You know, he just didn't look comfortable at all going after this ball. He calls it. Grichuk backs him up, but misses it. Just did not look comfortable going back on that ball into left center field. You can see it saying, I got it, but he misses it.
He clearly called for it, hit off his glove. That should be his 6th error of the season. And that has been a problem. His defense in left field. So now, with runners at second and third, the infield has to come in. It is 5-0 Oakland, and they're threatening to build on that lead. First pitch changeup.
Lucroy has already driven in a run tonight with a sacrifice fly to right field. That was back in the 4th inning. Look at it. His strength is to right field. He is looking to shoot a ball to right field. Don't you get that feeling?
And Garcia is pitching him inside. He is aware of what the situation is here. Lucroy's had a lot of at-bats against Jaime Garcia. He is 10 for 41. Of course, they both played in the National League Central. Lucroy in Milwaukee, Garcia with the Cardinals in St. Louis. There's a deep fly ball to left field. This one is hit and up off the wall. One run is in. Here comes Simeon around. He's going to score. The ball gets away from Diaz, and this has turned into an ugly inning. The air by Teoscar in left field. Jonathan Lucroy cashes in. That ball hit on the wall, but not up the wall very high.
Yeah, it hit the base of the wall. I thought if he ran through the baseball, I thought he could have caught this one, making it a sacrifice fly, but it bounces off the wall. Again, a ball out over the plate from Garcia, and Lucroy hits it hard right at the base of the wall. See that right down there? I thought I had a chance to haul it in. But it'll go as a double. 2 more RBIs for Lucroy, and the A's have pushed him now to 7-0.
3 runs here in the 8th. This will be a pinch hitter batting for Nik Martini. Franklin Baretta, who has just rejoined the A's. It's the 5th time he's been called up from the minors this year. And if that name is familiar to you, he is a former Blue Jay farmhand that was traded here in the Josh Donaldson deal.
He was a very big prospect for the Blue Jays when they traded him. He was a shortstop. He had an A ball when they traded him over to Oakland. He is here because Chad Pinder was involved in a car accident when the team was in Colorado. They had to put him on the disabled list with a laceration in his left elbow. Put some stitches in there, so Beretta's here.
Baretta played in the minor leagues with the Blue Jays. He signed as a 17-year-old in 2013. He played in Vancouver in 2014, and then in the offseason he was dealt in that Josh Donaldson trade. Kendall Graveman, Brett Lowrie, Sean Nolan, and Franklin Baretta came to Oakland on November 28, 2014 for Josh Donaldson. The A's got some bad news today about Kendall Graveman. He underwent Tommy John surgery today. He's lost for the season and most of next year.
Yeah, probably all of next year. Maybe they bring him up in September just to get him on the mound.
Baretta swings and misses. Bailey will go to first. Drive the Game brought to you by the Honda Checkered Flag event. Check out their all-star lineup.
Oakland A's do a good job when they're hitting home runs, and they've had a couple more tonight. First, Marcana. This is in the second inning to get the Oakland A's on the board. His 14th home run, and then this inning, Stephen Piscotty deep to center field, leading off the 8th inning, his 15th. Approximately 405 feet to center field. Tonight's drives of the game from the Oakland A's. They've got some guys who can hit some home runs.
Home runs number 145 and 146 for Oakland this season. They are near the top in the American League in that department. Brad Chapman, the third baseman, he's gone 0 for 3 with a walk so far. He struck out to end the 6th against Jake Petrushka. 7-0 Oakland. Still just 1 out. Chapman is the 6th man to bat here against Garcia in the 8th. Garcia had a clean 7th inning, 3 up, 3 down, no problem.
Yeah, easy inning, ground out, fly out, and pop out. Not so this inning. The error didn't help. This is part of the game I think the Blue Jays have got to clean up. Extra pitches, extra outs in an inning when you're giving them those free outs.
Well, just think about the psychology for a pitcher. You make a good pitch, you get a ground ball, it's booted for an error. You think, okay, ground ball, that's going to be an out. Fly ball, routine, that's going to be an out. And then you've got to regroup and overcome that error. Mentally, you make a pitch, you expect to get an out, it doesn't happen.
And it just adds to the pitch count.
Chapman walks. I know the Blue Jays would just soon not get up another reliever here in this 8th inning. Still only 1 out.
Number 8, Jed Lowrie.
This is the first batter that Jaime faced last inning. Jed Lowrie got him to ground out.
And the Blue Jays are all bundled up down there. It's a cool night here in Oakland, and that's normally the case in July and August. Jed Lowrie, the second baseman, goes after the first pitch, and that's going to get down. It splits the outfielders, and that's going to score a couple more. Lucroy's in to score. Matt Chapman will score all the way from first base, and it's a big inning for Oakland here. 9-0.
They have hit their share of doubles tonight. Jed Lowrie has always been a doubles machine. He gets in on the act with a couple more RBIs, sending that pitch into the gap. The Jays could not cut that ball off either. Lowrie with that patented short swing. He hits the grass and just takes off here. Watch this thing hit into the outfield and just take off all the way to the wall. By the time the Blue Jays can run it down, 2 more runs are going to score.
So Dustin Fowler has come off the bench to take over as a pinch runner at second. Jed Lowrie is out of the game. And this is Chris Davis. He goes after the first pitch and rips it into center field. Fowler's around third, and he will come in to score as Davis picks up his second RBI of the night. That'll give him 82 on the season.
Not waiting around at all. First pitch he sees from Jaime Garcia all over it. Pete Walker is out. I think this is just to slow things down. Blue Jays don't want to go to the bullpen. They don't want to have to burn a pitcher here just to get 2 outs.
Yeah, it's kind of a turnaround for Garcia. As we mentioned, he had a very good inning in the 7th. They got Lowrie, Davis, and Olson in order, but it's been a different story here in the 8th.
Now batting first baseman, number 28, Matt Olson.
So Matt Olson will be the 9th A's batter to hit this inning. A 6-run inning. The Blue Jays had a 6-run 8th inning against them in Chicago when the White Sox scored 6 runs in the 8th. Again, the air factoring into this inning. A fly ball that was dropped by Teoscar Hernandez off the bat of Marcus Semien.
Yeah, then you would have 1 out with a runner at first base. Ground ball and you're out of the inning. But instead, 2nd and 3rd, nobody out. And the batter's in the driver's seat.
Matt Olson, he is 0 for 4. Every one of the A's starter has either gotten a hit or scored a run except Olson. (10-0) Oakland. They scored 4 runs in 3 games in Colorado and were swept. There's a base hit for Olson. He's on the board. He's headed for 2nd. Davis will stop at 3rd. And now Olson has a hit. A bat-around inning for the A's here in the 8th.
It's going to get Joe Biagini up after that. There's just not a whole lot on those pitches right now.
There's still just 1 out. Stephen Piscotty got everything started this inning with a deep home run to center field. Piscotty is 2 for 4. He is homered and singled, scored a pair of runs. Loyal A's fans here at Coliseum having a good night again tonight.
To the end, huh?
Two and 0 now.
I'll be trying to pick on those corners to get some of these Oakland A hitters to get after it, but they're just laying off.
And now Luke Bailey and Russell Martin will both come over and give Garcia a little bit of a break. Been a tough season for Garcia. And high expectations coming over as a free agent. Entering this game 2-6 with an ERA of 5.88. Was signed to be the 5th starter. Had some shoulder problems, spent some time on the DL.
Twice he had to be on the disabled list, and he just right now he just doesn't have a feel of where that pitch is going.
3-0 to Piscotty. You would expect him to be taking all the way. ball 4. So Piscotty has homered and walked in this inning. And now Biagini has given them the go-ahead that he's loose, so John Gibbons will reluctantly make a pitching change here. So Jaime Garcia gives up 6 runs in the 8th inning after a 1-2-3 7th inning.
Sportsnet. Presented by Honda. The Honda Checkered Flag event is back. Hurry in to grab the Civic that matches your game.
The Golden Gate Bridge at the mouth of San Francisco Bay on a cool summer evening, and a disappointing outing for Jaime Garcia. He is charged with 6 runs this inning on 6 hits. He's walked 2 in the inning, and all 3 base runners on base now are his responsibility.
And it's up to Joe Biagini to leave him out there. Joe back into the game. This is his 30th game of the season for Biagini. 1-5 with a 641 earned run average. Joe last pitched for the Jays in Game 1 on Friday in Chicago, an inning and a third, nothing across, 4 up, 4 down.
Mark Canha, the center fielder, he's 2 for 4 with a homer. Bases are loaded. There's a strike.
Canha's had a good night tonight. A single, a double. He was the, or excuse me, a home run and a single. Scored a couple of runs.
Strike 2, 0-2, Biagini out in front.
When he keeps the ball down and he's got some good movement through his pitches, Biagini is a ground ball pitcher. And that's what Joe could use right here. Ground ball right to the shortstop. Get out of this inning.
That curveball, it's a good pitch, but it's off the plate outside. Joe trying to strand the bases loaded. He's done a good job of keeping those inherited base runners from scoring. 2-2 now.
That's a good sinker. At 95, he just couldn't find the plate. That's where he's trying to go. He's trying to get that ball, that sinker, down around the knees. And he'll get that ground ball.
There's the ground ball. Martin steps on the bag across the diamond, scooped over at first by Morales, and Biagini gets out of it. The double play ends the bottom of the 8th. We'll go to the 9th. 10-0 Oakland.
Trade deadline special, breaking down all of the day's deadline deals from the Blue Jays and all around the majors. Plus a look into the future as Vladimir Guerrero Jr. prepares for his AAA debut in Buffalo. 4 Eastern, 1 Pacific tomorrow, guys.
Should be an interesting day all afternoon tomorrow, and it all ends at 4 Eastern time. And you can bet there's going to be several more deals before it's all said and done. Ryan Buchter making his 29th appearance, trying to close things out as is a 10-0 Oakland lead here. Ledmus Diaz will lead things on. Swing and a drive. This ball's going to go out of here. Well, Diaz jumps on that first pitch and hits his 11th home run of the season. He is a notorious first ball fastball hitter, and he didn't waste any time.
That's exactly what he got from Ryan Buchter. His first pitch, a little fastball over the middle of the plate, right where Ledmus likes it, and he now has another home run. Another RBI, another extra base hit as he gets the Blue Jays on the board.
Number 10, Brandon.
His first hit of the night for the Blue Jays, just the 5th hit of the game, and that gets them on the board. And kind of a home run. It doesn't have an awful lot of meaning to it, and it's home run number 11 as Diaz gets closer and closer to his career high. Well, he smoked that ball.
And a little get me over pitch. He homered in yesterday's game. Ledmus also had an extra base hit, a double his last time up in yesterday's game.
Brandon Drury is 0 for 3, couple of groundouts and a pop-up. The A's are on the verge of making it 5 in a row against the Blue Jays this year. Oakland took a 4-game series earlier in the season, middle of May, back at Rogers Center. And they have a comfortable lead here in the 9th.
They just haven't been able to do anything wrong against the Blue Jays this year. They've hit well with runners in scoring position. They've hit just enough home runs.
This is popped up. Matt Olson, the first baseman, calls for it. He makes the catch. 0-1 away. Now for a preview of what's coming up next on Sportsnet Central. Here's Carolyn and Eric.
Number 21, Luke Maley.
Thanks a lot, Eric. That's all coming up right after this ball game, so stay tuned, and you can bet there'll be updating you on all the latest trade news in Major League Baseball. Luke Maile, the catcher, batting in the 9th spot. He takes the first pitch strike. Inside, 1-1. Maile get into a fielder's choice. Fly out to right and struck out. Well, the Blue Jays had Edwin Jackson on the ropes in the first inning. Couldn't take advantage of back-to-back walks to start the ball game.
It was almost the first 3 innings. They had base runners on and left 5 on in the first 3 innings. Just couldn't punch it through. Maybe this is a different outcome if they get one of those clutch hits early on. He walked 3 batters in 3 innings. He also gave up a double. There was an error, but the Blue Jays couldn't come up with a good at bat when they needed it with runners in scoring position.
Good cut by Maile. Edwin Jackson, the starter, is in line for his 100th career win. According to Baseball Reference, there are 25 active pitchers with 100 or more wins. The active leader in wins, of course, is Bartolo Colon with 245. CC Sabathia has 243. Verlander is 2 wins away from 200. But Edwin Jackson will pick up his 100th win here tonight. 2 away.
13 major league teams it has taken him to get to this milestone.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen, for Toronto.
Gonna have a pinch hitter for Curtis Granderson. That'll be Dwight Smith Jr. will get an at bat here. We'll be right back here tomorrow evening, game 2 of this 3-game series. Smith goes after the first pitch and pops it up. Third baseman Mark Canny in foul territory, and that's the ball game. So Ryan Buckner gives up a home run. Blue Jays aren't shut out, but they lose it 10-1. Aledmys Diaz with his 11th home run of the season. It came in the 9th inning, and that was about all the Blue Jays could muster tonight.
Yeah, Estrada gave him 4 innings, was charged with 4 runs. Lou Petrushka, Garcia, Biagini closed it out. They lose a tough one to Oakland here. This is going to be a tough week for the Blue Jays. 3 here and then 4 up in Seattle. Head off to the wrong side of the win-loss ledger on this one, 10-1.